Hi, everyone. I'm Gold Derby News and Features Editor Ray Richmond, and I'm welcoming James Merifield from the eight-part Hulu historical drama We Were the Lucky Ones to our TV production designers Meet the Experts panel. The project depicts the Holocaust from the perspective of a single family of Polish Jews before, during, and after the war, and based on Georgia Hunter's best-selling 2017 novel. James, one thing
Hello.
that's immediately apparent from watching the series is how bold the color palette is and how vivid the detail. Yet at the same time, it avoids a lot of the kind of visual World War II cliches we've all grown accustomed to, the washed out look, the sepia tones. I'm guessing that aspect appealed to you.
Yes, indeed. It was a choice we made very early on that we didn't want to do a sort of brown Holocaust movie or series in this case. We definitely we plummeted for washed out color as though, because bearing in mind that these the ghettos, for instance, that we obviously built several of. They were once upon a time happy places, full of color, full of life, full of optimism and hope. So what we wanted to do is maintain that, so that these characters really sit within the space, but at the same time, they feel like they belong, because their hearts and souls belong in these spaces, and yet their hearts, their souls are being ripped out of them by the devastating circumstances that they inflicted upon them.
I love the idea in this series that everything is in full rich color, from the art direction to the props to the cinematography to the costumes to the production design. How did that inspire you? I mean, personally, as a designer in the spaces you create.
Well, it's always a joy to meet a team of people that together bring extraordinary teamwork to the table. And I felt that from the very beginning. We all arrived with the right mentality, the right feeling from the soul too. So that every HOD, I would say, became a fantastic counterbalance of each other. And obviously we were led by an extraordinary director, Tommy Kail, and then obviously two other directors, Amit Gupta and Yasser Hardiman, all three of which brought their deepest passion to the project as well. And obviously, as you've already said, it's a huge story to tell about this extraordinary family that somehow, against all the odds, managed to survive and are reunited at the end. So, and also our story, although primarily shot in Romania, in Bucharest, which is where we built most of our sets and sourced many of our locations, we also used Spain. We were in Spain to give us Dakar, Casablanca, Rio, Palestine, and Italy even. So it was a very large spectrum of color and textures that we were to inhabit and hopefully bring to the screen.
Yeah, this was a 9-month shoot, wasn't it? Quite a long one.
Yes, it was it was a long haul. We were in it for the long haul, but at last count, I think. Well, I lost count when we got to the 230th set. It became like, okay, yeah, another set, yeah, another set. So but I was led or supported by, and led sometimes by, the most extraordinary crews. I mean, the crew in Romania are some of the best people. In fact, the current project I'm working on right now, I'm still using the storyboard, I'm still using the concept artist, I'm still using an art director, albeit remotely from Romania. Extraordinary people, and how they turned sets around and built them in the time that we did, against all odds with that. We were building, for instance, we built our Radon ghetto through the winter, a Romanian freezing cold winter. And you were asking earlier about what one of our other friends on these calls, saying what was our greatest challenge. One of our greatest challenges was the fact that the paint was freezing in the spray guns. So, these poor guys were up, cherry pickers trying to spray the set, but it was just frozen. So they had to boil kettles and use hot paint to to enable us to paint the set. So it was quite an ordeal, but always a challenge and obviously an exciting challenge.
You don't think of the weather impacting you as a designer, or with any of the. I'm still reeling from. Did you say 230 sets?
Yeah, that was the last count. Yes, 230. I'd say also about more, probably 60% of that was on stages or backlog. When I say stages, primarily warehouses, big, cold, freezing, warehouses that we stacked with sets from the Alcina ship to the Kirk's apartment, which is obviously plays heavily in episode 1, before the war and then into the war, and sewing factories and prisons, and we had a lot to chew the fat on, put it that way.
When people wonder why are they so expensive? It's sort of like, well, there's so many details that people don't think about when they just watch something. That somebody like you behind the scenes is responsible for so much of the look and the texture. What were some of the details you added to the sets, James, that to make the story feel like it could be happening today? Because I think it sounds like those were your marching orders.
Yes, you touched on something there, that it's how do you do it for the time and obviously the money. And what we focused on heavily was enabling us to build. For instance, we built a composite set that not only was the Radom ghetto, it also became the town of Lyov. So that was actually one and the same set, just revamped, turned around, repainted, redressed, and so on. So it was, and definitely the Kirk's apartment, which is in episode 1 and the beginning of episode 2, is a very high end set, because they were an eminent, wealthy family in the fabric industry. That set became the Radom ghetto, their ghetto set, by moving walls and painting and changing a window, changing doors, and so on. So we did a lot of that. We built a lot of composite sets that you went through a door and it became another place. You changed a window, you revolved a wall and it became something else. So that was a exciting way of digging deep into 230 sets.
How did your research play out? Did you scour the web for photographs and descriptions, James?
Well, of course. I mean, the war and obviously the Holocaust is heavily documented on the internet. Yes, I mean, I'm still pretty old school. I'm surrounded by my library books here. I'm in my studio at the moment in the UK. But yes, so I go to my favorite books still, of course, but absolutely the internet is deeply useful. But I think, a lot of it is guttural too. I think, you take a script like this and it speaks volumes, and again, harking back to the team and the people behind it, we're all there to support telling this story and telling the story of these extraordinary characters. I mean, I always believe you start with character, you end with character. And what my job is simply to support those characters, providing those rich or dank or dark or whatever backgrounds that are required, that are appropriate to the scene and the storytelling.
Did you use any past film projects as inspiration?
If
the answer is no, that's okay.
I can't think of any directly, but of course you're always pulling from something. I mean, again, the current project I'm doing at the moment, I'm going to be doing a backlot set And, you know, obviously thinking about how can we use this for 1970 and for 2024, you know, it's a similar vein, runs through all of us, because we all have to work within a, you know, a tight financial and time circumstances.
Absolutely. We're going to wrap things there. We Were the Lucky Ones is available to stream in its entirety on Hulu. James Merifield, good luck to you this Emmy season, and thanks for joining us at Gold Derby.
Thank you, Ray.